Ah, 1945. What a time to be alive. The economy was booming, the babies were booming, Japan was booming, and the most poorly received sequel in history, The Great War II Mustache Man Boogaloo, had just finished its 7-year run, during which technology advanced at a staggering rate. Naturally, the US military was looking to spend a couple of tax dollars on some new trinkets and doodads, including a new all-weather interceptor to replace the prop-powered P-61, which was anemic compared to the snazzy new jets it would have to compete with. After 5 years, they got this, the F-89 Scorpion. Now looking at this aircraft, you're probably asking yourself a couple of questions. Mainly, why does it look like that? Were the engineers who designed it high? And why doesn't she want me? The answer? Grumman. Oh, and as a little side note, I've actually had the pleasure of seeing one of these monstrosities in real life. But getting back on track, there are two variants of the F-89 available in Warthunder, those being the F-89B and the F-89D. Both are premiums located at BR 7.0, and both have absolutely insane weapon systems. I'm going to talk about the F-89B first, since it's the less impressive of the two in my opinion. However, it's important to remember that these planes are pretty much identical except for their weapon loadouts, so most of what I say about the B will also apply to the D. Anyways, the first thing you'll notice about the F-89B when you take it into ARB is that damn, that's a big old boy! It's kinda hard to tell from the hangar screen, but the F-89B is enormous, being only slightly shorter than the F-4C Phantom while possessing a larger wingspan. But despite its size, much like the decline of my mental faculties, it can be deceptively fast. This is because of its two Allison J35A35 engines, which produce a pretty nice amount of thrust, and are even capable of afterburning. Although this is both a blessing and a curse, since the F-89's already dog-aids maneuverability, it's even worse when you reach top speed, and on top of that, your wings will occasionally decide that for no reason whatsoever, they don't want to be a part of your aircraft anymore. Thankfully, to counteract this, the F-89 has a set of giant, voluptuous air brakes, which are incredibly effective at slowing you down. Now it's time to talk about the real meat and potatoes of this plane, the armament. The F-89B is equipped with 6, you heard me, 6 20mm autocannons mounted in the nose. This gun configuration means that you have almost the exact same 1-second burst mass as an M61 Vulcan, only at BR 7.0. Admittedly, the coolness of this is kneecapped on account of the airframe being fatter than William Taft, which can make aiming kinda hard, and dogfighting of any sort is pretty much out of the question, unless you're willing to spend hours learning the secrets to make this thing turn in a reasonable amount of time. It's almost as if it was made to intercept big, slow bombers instead of small and nimble fighters. Anyways, the pain of learning to get good with this plane is worth it when you line up a perfect shot and watch whatever low-tier jet you have in your sights get turned into a hashtag.
Expect the unexpectable!
Moving on to the F-89D, you'll spot some pretty obvious visual differences. Mainly that the nose got more pointy and the pods on the wingtips got more girthy, and for good reason. The thing that makes the F-89D one of my favorite jets in-game is that each wing pod houses 52 proximity-fused Mighty Mouse unguided rockets. Each one filled with enough explosives to absolutely burgerize an enemy plane if it hits center mass. Naturally, it's pretty silly. Anyways, as you saw, it's a pretty insane weapon system, but what's even crazier is that it wasn't limited to this aircraft. In fact, a whole host of jets from the 50s and 60s employed pretty much the same thing, including the F-102, the Lightning F6, the F-86D, the CF-100, and the F-94C, to name a few. The idea came about when it was made abundantly clear to NATO tacticians that nuclear bomber formations are cringe, and they needed a quick and effective way of removing them from the census before they could deploy their payload of So after a bit of pondering, some undoubtedly intoxicated employee at North American Aviation came up with what would essentially be a rocket shotgun. The concept was simple, just load a high-speed interceptor with as many small, unguided rockets as it could take, then have it fly headfirst at the nearest enemy bomber formation and shard out all the rockets in its general direction. Keep in mind that the smart proximity-fused Mighty Mice that equip the F-89D in-game are entirely fictitious. You want to know why? Because equipping planes with a rocket shotgun turned out to be a dumbass idea, and when the plane was initially released in-game with the historically accurate Mighty Mouse rockets, it was literally unusable. In real life, its dumbassery was highlighted when in August 1956, two F-89Ds were sent to shoot down a runaway US Navy drone. Even after both F-89s had expelled all of their ammunition, they still hadn't landed a single hit on the aircraft. So yeah, bad idea. Although not as bad as some of the other air-to-air unguided rocket designs that went into service. Looking at you, Genie unguided air-to-air nuclear rocket. But getting back to it, in Warthunder, the F-89D can be an incredibly fun aircraft to use, although much like the F-89B, it takes a lot of time and practice to get good with. The biggest hurdles to get over are learning to master its strengths and avoid its weaknesses. For instance, the rockets it fires are hilariously inaccurate, having a wider spread than Kirk Johnson. Because of this, you're almost forced to volley fire. While you could just change your burst quantity to fire more rockets at a time, I prefer to just spam individual rockets until I get a hit, because rapidly slapping the spacebar like a chimp brings me joy. You also need to be conscious of your ammo. You only have 104 rockets in total, and you fire 2 at a time by default. So don't be big and greedy and spam them all at one target, only to be useless for the rest of the game. Of course, if you really can't hit any aircraft, you could always load it with normal Mighty Mouse rockets and then try and use it as CAS, although you're going to be less effective than literally any other CAS aircraft at your BR. All in all, both of these jets are skill cannons, with the potential to cause either you or the people you face great suffering, depending on how long you've had them. Anyways, I've been wanting to make a video about these two jets for a while now, as they're actually the first two premiums I got all the way back in 2020. So they hold a bit of a special place in my diseased, shriveled little heart. Oh yeah, and on the topic of premiums, here comes the bad news. The F-89D is the only premium in-game locked behind another premium. Meaning if you want to buy the F-89D, you have to buy the F-89B, which will total you around 12,000 Golden Eagles, which sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? The fact that I've hit nearly 10,000 subscribers on this godforsaken website. To celebrate, when I hit 10,000, I'll be giving away 10,000 Golden Eagles to one of you, my loyal subjects. If you'd like to enter the giveaway, it's simple. Just like the video, leave a comment that includes the phrase, "My chair smells like farts," subscribe, and join my Discord link down below, so you can see when I announce the winner. If you especially enjoyed the video and have some cheese to spare, then consider signing up for my YouTube membership program. Okay, goodbye!